Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's World-Class Contact Centers webinar, Migrating to the Next Generation Contact Center Desktop. Today, you'll hear about how to leverage the cloud and its agility to efficiently adapt and deliver excellent customer experience. How a unified multi-channel agent desktop can help you drive retention by strengthening your customer relationships, and best practices for cost-effectively migrating from a legacy system to a next-generation desktop. With that, please allow me to perform a brief introduction. My name is Jeff Porter, and I'm the Partner Marketing Manager here at RightNow Technologies. My colleague and co-presenter for today is Chris Almond. Chris has a corporate development role here at RightNow, and prior to that, defined and executed RightNow's integration and extension strategy within the product management organization. For those of you unfamiliar with us, RightNow Technologies is a global cloud vendor helping the world's largest companies deliver better experiences to their customers. By creating exceptional customer experiences across the web, social networks, and contact center, we deliver solutions that improve customer retention and efficiency while helping to drive customer acquisition. Also joining us today is our partner and colleague, Ron Halverson, Director of Marketing here at Pervasive Software. Ron leads the team that focuses on product positioning and the go-to-market strategy for Pervasive's data integration and data quality products. Pervasive Software is a global leader in cloud-based and on-premises data innovation. Having delivered value to tens of thousands of customers in more than 150 countries, Pervasive provides software to manage, integrate, and analyze data in the cloud or on-premises throughout the entire data lifecycle and often embedded with partners software such as RightNow. So with that, let me bring on Chris Almond to begin our webinar. Chris, you can take it away.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you everyone for having me today. And thank you to Ron for offering me the opportunity to co-present. Very excited to be here today and talk about some of the trends we're seeing in the industry from a consumer perspective and how organizations can leverage next generation agent desktop to meet the needs and those changing needs of consumers today. So to begin, I'd like to talk about consumer empowerment, and we're all seeing this today. Consumers more and more are having a stronger and louder voice and are able to get their message out to other consumers, their friends, their families, their colleagues, in a matter of seconds. What used to take hours or days, it can now be done on a mobile device in literally seconds. And as consumers begin to interact with brands and organizations, it's very important that those organizations are able to listen, analyze, and engage with consumers as they're out there talking about their experiences that they have. Today, more than ever, consumers are actually changing where they have conversations. They're changing where they have conversations with their friends, where they have conversations through work, and where they have conversations about the experiences they're having. Here I have two graphs showing some changes in trends on where consumers spend their time. The first graph on the left, you're going to see in yellow, is time spent on social networking sites, the Facebooks, Twitters, and LinkedIns of the world, versus in the blue line, time spent using email as a communication channel. This graph is very powerful. What you can see is email has stayed more or less relatively flat, and we're actually seeing social networking usage surpass the time consumers are using email. So very critical that organizations are out on those social networks, listening to their consumers, analyzing what they have to say, and engaging with those consumers on those networks. In addition, on the right, we have a graph demonstrating the time spent accessing the internet through a desktop versus mobile internet usage. And this is really fascinating. What you can see here is sometime late next year or early 2013, if not sooner, we're actually going to see time spent accessing the internet on mobile devices is going to surpass that of time spent accessing the internet through a desktop application. And this is very powerful because where consumers used to have to leave a company or an organization after a bad experience and go home and maybe write a letter or an email, they can actually now just walk out the door, or not even walk out the door, pick up their mobile device, get on a social network, and get a message out about the experience they just had. Whether that experience is good or bad, it doesn't really matter. They have the power now to communicate that message in a matter of seconds. And again, organizations need to be out there monitoring, listening, and engaging with their consumers on these social networks and allowing their consumers to interact with them from their mobile devices. Because consumers are going to spend the time where they want to, and they expect organizations to be able to respond on those channels. Every year, RightNow does some interesting work with some third-party research companies to understand consumer engagement and what's happening with consumer expectations. And out of a recent study we did with Harris Interactive, one of the things we found is that 86% of people will actually stop doing business with an organization after a single bad experience. And unfortunately, organizations don't get to define what a bad experience is. That is put in the hands of the customer. So it's very, very important that organizations recognize that they always must deliver a great experience for their customers. On the flip side of this is another great stat. The number one reason consumers will actually recommend a company is outstanding service. It's not the product features or the capabilities or even the price. It's actually the experience they have when they engage with that organization. And I know this is something I personally have experienced and started to take note of as I've worked for RightNow and worked in this consumer experience space. I actually do this all the time. If I go into a store and maybe I can't find a clerk to help me or I can't get a question answered, I leave and I go across the street to the competitor. And if I get help there, that's what I actually tell my friends and family about. And I found myself actually being a part of these statistics, in that I don't go back to those organizations that I have bad experience. I'm actually willing to pay a little bit more, even if that means a lesser product, as long as I get the experience and the service that I need. In addition to this, interesting stat that if organizations can find a way to resolve a customer's issue, that customer is 70% likely to return to do business with them. So 70% of consumers, when they have a complaint, will return and do business if their issue is resolved. So customer retention, we all know, is very important, and we can actually help drive up customer retention by resolving issues. Going beyond simple issue resolution, but looking at the speed of resolution, we find that we can increase the customer retention rate up to 95%. So not just resolving the issue, but speed to resolution can drastically increase our ability to retain customers. And we all know customer retention is extremely important. So with that, what I'd like to do is kind of pause here and show a little video around what the end state of this may look like. And this is a video around a modern day consumer, a photographer, and his experience with the brand and what he comes to expect being a social, mobile, and heavy user of a product. Let's take a look.
He shoots while killing time between classes. It's a release. But increasingly, it's an obsession. He is searching for a shot. The shot. It's out there somewhere, and it could take 1 million attempts to capture it. What he sees through the lens is part of it, but it also requires technique and equipment. And if he's using your gear, you can bet you're going to hear from him in the field. He loves it when someone is there to listen and understand. He actually expects it, because it brings him one step closer to that shot.
Okay, well, so hopefully that set the stage for the consumer experience that customers are expecting, and gave you some insights into what we at RightNow, through some third-party independent studies, have found around consumer expectations when it comes to experiences with an organization. What I'd like to do now is turn to the other side of that coin, which is the agent experience, and talk a little bit about how an agent desktop can help organizations deliver on those expectations for consumers. And what we've seen here is an evolution of the agent desktop, where organizations are using agent desktops to drive customer retention, agent efficiency, and new customer acquisition. So first, customer retention, as we saw in some of the statistics I presented earlier, is all about improving customer experience and delivering consistency across the different channels of engagement, whether that be email, web, social, mobile, to resolve customer issues. And if we can resolve those issues, we're 70% likely to see that customer do business with us again. And if we can do that quickly, which goes to the next bullet, efficiency, we can actually see retention rates upwards of 95% for those customers whose issues got resolved quickly. Being efficient means offering multi-channel integration in the desktop, so allowing agents to work seamlessly from an email to a chat to a phone call, and providing them with a strong knowledge foundation to help resolve those customer issues, irregardless of the channel the customer interacts with us on. Finally, acquisition. This is where organizations are leveraging an agent desktop and guided workflows or agent scripting to help upsell or cross-sell a consumer as the agent is interacting with them to solve a problem. So if you know a customer has a certain product, they have an issue that gets resolved, we can actually move right into a cross-sell or upsell script using things like guided workflow or agent scripting. And this really aligns a lot with what Ovum has produced in their case study around the next generation agent desktop. We kind of go back and look at traditional environments. What we saw in these worlds was legacy on-premise based agent desktops. They were generally very thick clients that were installed on every agent desktop by IT. Anytime there was a change needed, it required a lot of hands-on coding by IT. So these systems were very technical in nature and required a lot of expertise by our IT staff and had a high investment in hardware maintenance costs for the IT organization. They had to buy servers, have staff ready to service those servers, and upgrade the software when necessary. You fast forward to today, what we're starting to see is the emergence of thin client applications. And those thin client applications are leveraging software as a service that might be hosted out in the cloud or in the internet. And while some applications have started to move there, we still have a mixed infrastructure where some of these applications are serviced through the cloud or hosted, and some are still on-premise. And that presents an interesting challenge as data has to be integrated across those systems to create a seamless experience for both the agent and the customer. Some of the desktops today do have agent scripting and a little bit of workflow, but haven't totally migrated to an automated system yet. And that moves into the next generation agent desktop that Ovum describes as an entirely cloud-based application, fully multi-channel integrated, meaning the agents aren't alt-tabbing or doing what sometimes is called swivel chair integration between applications. Rather, everything they need is at their disposal in a single unified agent desktop. They have completely automated agent guidance and workflow so that when a customer calls in, the customer record can automatically be popped, or based on what the customer has done to that point, we can guide an agent to an appropriate spot in a workflow or script. So seeing a lot of automation in these next generation desktops. And rapid scalability. When you host these things in the cloud, you're able to quickly grow the needs of the solution with that of consumer organizations as they grow. And that leads into the next slide around cloud delivery and configurability. The cloud-based systems are generally more agile and flexible than on-premise solutions. When you build software as a service, you build it in a way that allows it to meet the needs of a large number of consumers and allows for configuration rather than coding, so that you can leverage business analysts or other less technical folks to actually use declarative designers to design an experience for the agent or the customer. So it's a configuration, not code system. There's a no-hassle upgrade cycle that allows the software to automatically be updated or upgraded without a lot of overhead and involvement from IT staff. And because this is all thin client-based, hosted in the cloud, it starts to enable remote agents or work at home from agents. The software and the functionality can be accessed from any device that's internet-enabled, allowing agents to work from these remote locations. And because of all this, it really reduces the total cost of ownership. This is partly because of the hosting in the cloud and the lack of need to purchase hardware, but also through the subscription model. Pay for what you use, no licensing, no upgrade and maintenance expense. All of that is offered as part of the software as a service. And so as you look at desktops, really what you want to look for is this next generation desktop that's hosted in the cloud, offered as a service, and brings a unified multi-channel agent desktop to your agents. This allows agents to work from the web, channel, email, phone, social, chat, whatever the case may be. In addition, when you have these scalable solutions that are built in the cloud and multi-channel and unified, you're also going to be able to handle that next big thing. We don't know what that is today. I certainly don't know what it is. But when it comes, I do know that for these vendors who have built multi-channel desktops in the cloud and offering them as a service, they will be able to support that next big thing in a unified and easy-to-use fashion. I'd also comment on the knowledge foundation. I mentioned this earlier, but as organizations go to service customer needs, and whether that's from the contact center, the web, or the social, it's important that each of those channels has a deep integration with a consistent and solid knowledge foundation. This ensures that as customers engage with you, whether that be from the contact center channel or the social channel or web, they are presented with consistent and relevant knowledge. And this also happens for your agents. When they're working on an incident or a case, they shouldn't have access to different knowledge just based on this channel. We want to make sure that knowledge is consistent and seamless across all channels. When you do all this and bring it together, what you have is an agent desktop that allows you to deliver the right information at the right time. The information is going to be contextually relevant. It's going to guide the agent to the appropriate response to solve the customer's need. And it's also going to offer a complete 360-degree view of the customer, including past interactions they may have, the current interaction, the channel information, so that we can begin to get a deep understanding of the customer and deliver the experience they expect. So hopefully help position some of the benefits around moving to this next generation agent desktop, both from the agent side and the consumer side. And I'd like to highlight that there are benefits for both IT as well as the business. I won't go through and read each of these line by line. You can see there's a lot of overlapping benefits, from faster time to implementation to simpler integration with third-party applications, all the way down to reduced time to manage and configure the infrastructure. So there really is a lot of benefits on both sides of the house when you start to move to these next generation agent desktops. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Ron, who's going to talk about how you can leverage Pervasive to begin migrating to the next generation agent desktop.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate the opportunity to come and speak today. It's exciting, all these new next generation desktops, and with the integration into social networks, it would seem that everybody should be flocking to this as fast as they're flocking to their mobile device, but they aren't. And the real question is, why aren't they getting that full value, and why aren't they flocking to these new applications? And the real answer is because migrating is difficult. Connecting to the thousands of on-premise and SaaS applications is often unique and sometimes complicated. Legacy applications have collected their customer data and call center data for years, but it kept it in silos, and they don't make it available where you need it and when you need it. Gartner says that poor data quality itself costs U.S. companies over $6 billion a year. And data preparation alone consumes 50% of the budgets allocated to standing up and migrating to a new SaaS application. And 3 out of 4 at-risk customers are a result of poorly planned and executed data migrations. So what do the analysts tell us we should do? Well, they've outlined an automated process. The first critical step is to understand the data sources, their schemas and metadata, and how you will connect to each source. Next, in pre-flight, you need to profile the data to uncover any irregularities, what we like to call dirty data. A 2011 Bloor research survey indicated that 72% of the companies who did data profiling before migrating finished their projects on time and on budget. Next, once the dirty data has been remediated, you need to find duplicate records and merge them so that you only have one correct view of each record. And finally, now that the data has been assessed and cleaned, you're ready to migrate. No more garbage in or garbage out. While this process may seem difficult and a daunting task, Pervasive has established a program for easily migrating legacy call center data to RightNow called Move RightNow. It uses Pervasive's award-winning technology, following industry standard best practices, to connect to your on-premise or SaaS application, profile, analyze, and uncover your dirty data, cleanse by finding and merging your duplicate records, and finally, migrating those cleaned records into RightNow's next generation contact center. So what this means to you, quite simply, is that you enable your call center to improve customer satisfaction afforded by RightNow's next generation contact center and better, more accurate data. And you get those benefits faster. You invest a lot in creating a great customer experience. Move RightNow helps you realize the benefits sooner, decreasing your time to value. Move RightNow in one step not only upgrades the quality of your data, but it also upgrades your service desk, improving the quality of what you already know about each customer and improve your service desk's visibility into all customer activity. Providing a full customer view to your call center means you can create a quick and smooth experience for your customers. Better experiences improve customer satisfaction. And finally, as far as migrations go, we've already done thousands and thousands for companies across the globe. If it's an application, we've migrated it.
Great, thank you, Ron. So we wanted to wrap up the webinar with a quote from a joint customer of RightNow and Pervasive, Nikon. This is from David Gentry, General Manager there at Nikon. And David says, when you deliver a great customer experience, they'll come back and buy from you again. Not only that, they're going to tell their friends, and that's the best advertising there is. Very powerful message from David, who has made this step to the next generation agent desktop, and who has done that move and seen these benefits. In addition, I'd like to share a case study with you from a large shoe manufacturer out of the Pacific Northwest, another customer who has made this move to the next generation agent desktop. And they've seen a large number of benefits, everything from reducing average handle time to almost $3 million savings over a 3-year period. In addition, they've reduced their training time, created a more user-friendly system, and also have the scalability of a hosted platform, which allows them to adjust for the fluctuations in demand as seasons change. And with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Jeff to conclude today's webinar.
Well, thank you, Chris, and thank you, Ron, for participating in this webinar. What I'd like to do is just summarize briefly. In closing today, customers are truly demanding a better experience when they interact with your organization. And meeting that better experience is going to help you improve retention, efficiency, and acquisition. So the path to that is to consider a multi-channel strategy. Ultimately, the question becomes, how do you migrate from your existing infrastructure to embrace that multi-channel environment? And today we hope that on this webinar, we've provided you some insights and answers into exactly that question. The case study that you see here, further information is also detailed in Ovum Research's report, Migrating to the Next Generation Contact Center Desktop. We'd like to provide that for you as a complimentary copy, absolutely for free. If you're interested in receiving this, please simply shoot us an email at info@pervasive.com, and we'll get that right over to you. Lastly, if you'd like to learn more about Pervasive or RightNow, the products, services, and solutions that we offer, please visit us at our websites, www.pervasive.com or www.rightnow.com. It's been our pleasure to have you in our audience today. We hope you found this of value, and we want to thank you on behalf of RightNow Technologies and Pervasive Software. We hope you have a great day.